I want to talk about camera movement. PT Camera Schnitt on Instagram. He wants to know, how did you decide when to move the camera and when not to?
The process was very interesting because we, for example, we storyboarded only the war scenes, and we knew we had to do that just because there are so many elements involved. And when you go into storyboarding, you plan ahead, and then a lot of like about framing and camera movements and everything else. When it comes to the other scenes, we decided to have a totally different approach, and that was just going and rehearse with the actors, and then block, and then figure out how to shoot it. And what that does, it gives so much freedom to the actors, and that's what I realized. That's how Taika gets these amazing performances from young actors. But that being our main approach, we had to determine early on during prep a certain set of rules. And we first of all, we realized that this is not the movie for handheld, and we knew from the beginning we don't want to be handheld ever. So
why did you decide that?
We felt that it might be too modern, too much of a modern approach, and we wanted something like a classical element, because we felt that our color approach would be so different than people were expecting. That, like, if we felt it wasn't right, and a lot of times, like, I guess that's why we felt it wasn't right, that we felt it was too modern, and we wanted a more classical approach. And we realized that, like, dolly shots and just slow moves, or like really perfectly composed static shots can work really well. And when you have this set of rules, then you jump into rehearsing and trying to figure out on the spot. But having this background and all the discussions in prep will allow you to realize, like, oh, actually this can be a dolly shot, and it will help us to have a dolly shot here. But a lot of times we weren't trying to do a dolly shot just because it's a cool camera move. We were trying to figure out if there is a certain meaning for that, or if that can give the audience a certain emotion better than a static shot.
Can you pinpoint a shot that you decided to move the camera where you thought, the decision was made to accelerate the story or to support whatever was going on at that moment?
I mean, there is, like, the one that will jump in my mind really first would be, like, following JOJO when he goes back to Elsa's bedroom with a knife, and that could have been like a really composed shot, and we did a few of those before, but we felt that just dollying with him for that moment will kind of bring the audience with him into that scene. I'm trying to find a few others. Like, sometimes it's just the reality of it, the fact that you have to bring a character from one room to another somehow. Yeah. But you can achieve that with either multiple static shots or just like a long dolly track. And it depends. Like, a lot of times it's what it feels right in that moment.
There's one move in particular that I wanted to talk to you about, is when there's a point in the movie where the camera sort of rotates through the bedroom, rotates around the bedroom, and, you're going through daylight, nighttime, the main characters are in different parts of the room, just to kind of show the passage of time. Can you talk to us a little bit about how you achieved that scene, that look?
We spoke about that very early on, and we referred to as a Taika signature shot, because he did that in Hunt for Older People, and it was a really nice way, I thought, for showing the passage of time, and we didn't realize it's even harder to do it, because he did it in an open space, in a forest. But for JOJO, we chose the bedroom, and we didn't realize it's actually way harder because we wanted to do it as much in camera as possible and have the actors run and change position as the camera is panning. But in such a tight space, it's actually harder to do. And if we were able to achieve 2 or 3 spots, we weren't able to achieve all the move. So we needed some help from VFX there. But I think the idea was to show the passage of time in one room, and where they can be in different spots and different times of day. And what was great about it is that we were able to achieve the passage of time, like from daytime to nighttime, in a continuous move. And that wasn't VFX, but repositioning and trying to make it multiple passes. So we have a tighter positioning of the characters. We needed to use VFX for that.
So you just sort of plant the camera in the middle and automated a move and just kind of like set your scene and did a full rotation? Is that?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, for that one, I used a gear head with reduction gears. So, and still like a better tool. I think we tried one more time in the living room, and that didn't make the cut. But we tried it with a repeatable head, and it's something to it. I mean, sometimes you want the human imperfections in any camera move. But sometimes like those will work against you when you have to stitch shots together.
Yeah.
But it was fairly basic. I remember we were fairly low on a low head with a gear head with reduction gears, and just panning as slow as possible.
So you tried one in the living room, but it just didn't work?
No, it did, but it was a totally different moment, and for some reason within the story, the bedroom setup worked better.